So, how can you do this problem in 30 seconds or less? Jar 1 and jar 2 each contain 1/2 cup of water. If 1/4 of the water in jar 1 is poured into jar 2, how much water is now in jar 2? So you have 1/2 times 1 plus 1/4, which is equal to 1/2 times 5/4, and the answer is G. How was I able to do this problem so fast? So, we have jar 1, we have jar 2. So let's just do it, right? So jar 1 and jar 2. They each contain 1/2 cup of water. 1/2 cup of water, 1/2 cup of water. Okay, so this is like 1/2 C, 1/2 C. If 1/4 of the water in jar 1 is poured into jar 2, how much water is in jar 2? So what almost everybody, by the way, including myself, what type of mistake we make is we assume that if 1/4 cups of water in jar 1 is poured into jar 2, so then you just do 1/2 plus 1/4, mistakenly of course, you get 3/4. When you simplify, the answer is H, and that is a wrong answer because we are not asked to pour 1/4 of cup, right? So that's not correct. 1/4 of the entire chunk of water. So what happens is you essentially do 1/2 from jar 1, you multiply this by 1/4 because 1/4 of the entire amount of water in jar 1 is being poured into. So 1/8, that's how many cups rather is being poured out of jar 1 and into jar 2. So therefore in jar 2 now we just have the initial 1/2 plus the 1/8, which is equal to, if you do the common denominator, is just 4/8 plus 1/8, which is equal to 5/8, and the answer is G. How to do this problem faster if you want to? So a faster solution is going to be you have 1/2 cup, the initial quantity, and then you multiply this by 1 plus 1/4. This quarter is coming from jar 1. Now, the reason why you can do this is because the initial quantities are the same. If initial quantities were not the same, you cannot do this. So in that case, you have 1/2 times 5/4, then you multiply across, you get 5/8. The answer is G. That's it.